The night market of Rotor City was always alive with noise, lights, and the smell of strange food. But in the darkest corner of the alleys, far away from the shining stalls, a blind alien girl walked slowly with a broken stick in her hand. She could not see the lights, she could not see the faces, but she could hear everything. People laughing, traders shouting, and sometimes cruel voices mocking her. Her skin was pale blue, her hair tangled with dust and her eyes cloudy and empty. She carried a small bag made from scraps and filled it with trash, hoping to find something she could sell. Broken bottles, metal wires, even half-eaten food. Anything had value to her. Many called her useless, a beggar, a shadow that should not exist in such a bright city. But still, every day she came to the alley and worked silently. One evening, a group of young alien boys threw stones at her. They laughed when she stumbled and fell, spilling the trash she had collected. She only whispered, "I am sorry," and crawled on the ground, feeling with her hands to pick up the pieces. The boys left, still laughing, but she did not curse them. She only sighed, clutching the broken pieces of glass as if they were treasure. From a distance, a man watched. A human. He stood near a vendor stall pretending to look at tools, but his eyes never left the blind girl. He had seen her for 3 nights now, always walking the same alley, always carrying the same broken stick, always humiliated yet never angry. Something about her calmness touched him. The human's name was Daniel. He had come to this alien city for trade, but his soldier's eyes saw more than business. He saw cruelty hidden in plain sight. He saw how people ignored the blind girl as if she was less than nothing. And he asked himself, why did she still smile sometimes even when the world gave her only pain? That night, as the girl returned to her small corner near the dumpsters, Daniel followed quietly. She sat down, carefully separating wires from rotten food with her hands. She hummed a soft tune, a song broken but full of heart. Daniel stepped closer and she froze, her ears sharp. "Who's there?" she whispered, fear in her voice. Daniel spoke gently. "I won't hurt you." Her empty eyes turned toward the sound, but she could not see him. "You are not from here," she said, her voice trembling. "Your voice is different." "Yes," Daniel answered. "I am human." For a moment, silence filled the alley. She had heard of humans, strange beings from a distant world, dangerous and proud. But his voice was calm, almost kind. She relaxed a little, though her fingers still clutched the wire tightly. "Why are you here?" she asked. "I should ask you that," Daniel said softly. "Why do you collect trash every night?" Her lips curved into a faint smile. "Because trash does not lie. Trash does not laugh at me. Trash feeds me when people do not. I can sell some of it for food." Daniel's heart ached at her words. A blind girl surviving on trash, treated like dirt by her own kind. He wanted to ask more, but he could see she was tired, hungry, and fragile. Still, there was something strong in her, something unbroken. "Don't you ever wish to see?" he asked quietly. Her hands froze, her smile fading. For a long time she said nothing. Then she whispered, "Every night I dream of stars. They say they are beautiful, but for me they are only stories. I have never seen the sky. I have never seen myself. But dreams are enough. Dreams are safe." Her words cut deeper than any blade. Daniel felt a fire in his chest. He had seen too much pain in wars, too many lives broken. But this was a different kind of cruelty. A girl born blind, left to rot in alleys, never knowing the world she lived in. He clenched his fists. He could walk away like everyone else. He could pretend he never saw her. But something inside him refused. This girl was not trash. She deserved more than darkness. The night grew colder and the girl curled into her corner with her bag of scraps. Daniel stepped back, his mind racing. He had a plan forming, a dangerous, crazy idea. He remembered the human lenses in his bag, broken tech mixed with alien crystal. Maybe, just maybe, he could build something. He looked one last time at the blind girl. Her cloudy eyes closed, her fragile body shaking from cold, yet her lips still whispering a broken song. Daniel whispered to himself, "Tomorrow I will change her world." And with that, he vanished into the neon streets, leaving behind the girl who still believed she was alone, but she was not. The next morning, the sun rose over Rotor City, but the blind alien girl did not see it. She only felt the warmth on her skin as she walked slowly through the alley with her broken stick. Her bag of scraps was half empty. She had eaten only stale bread the night before. Her steps were weak, but her spirit remained unbroken. Far away in a rented workshop, Daniel was already awake. The human had worked all night. His tools were spread across the table: wires, lenses, fragments of alien crystal, and pieces of Earth tech he had carried with him. His hands were steady, his eyes sharp, and his mind focused. He had been a soldier once. He had built weapons, repaired armor, and hacked enemy systems under fire. But this was different. This time he was building not to kill, but to give life. He whispered to himself, "If this works, she will see the world she only dreams about." By noon, he held the finished piece in his hands, a strange-looking pair of glasses. The frame was made from scrap metal, rough but strong. The lenses shimmered faintly with a mix of human and alien light. They were not perfect, not beautiful, but Daniel believed they could give vision, maybe not complete, but enough to change her life. That evening, Daniel returned to the alley. He found the blind girl sitting on the ground, holding her knees close, humming her broken tune. Children ran past her, laughing, but she ignored them. Her bag was already full of trash, and her hands were bleeding from cuts. Daniel stepped closer. She raised her head, sensing his presence. "You came back," she whispered. "Yes," Daniel said. "I told you I won't hurt you." Her lips curved faintly. "People always leave. They don't come back." "I am not people," Daniel answered. He knelt in front of her, and she tilted her head, confused. He carefully held the strange glasses in his hands. "What is that?" she asked, her voice cautious. "A gift," Daniel said softly. "Something no one ever gave you before." Her empty eyes widened. "A gift for me?" "Yes," Daniel whispered. "These are glasses. Not ordinary glasses. I built them using human and alien tech. I don't know if they will work, but maybe, just maybe, they will let you see." For the first time, her face showed fear. She shook her head. No, don't joke with me. I was born blind. Nothing can change that. Dreams are enough for me." Daniel's voice grew firm. "Dreams are not enough. You deserve to see the stars, the city, yourself. You deserve more than shadows." His words struck her like lightning. She trembled, her hands moving slowly toward the object he held. Her fingers touched the rough frame, feeling the strange shape. "Glasses," she whispered. "They feel strange. Do you trust me?" Daniel asked. She hesitated, her heart racing. Trust was something she never gave easily. But his voice was different. It held no mockery, no pity, only strength. Slowly, she nodded. Daniel gently placed the glasses on her face. For a moment, nothing happened. The girl's cloudy eyes blinked rapidly, her lips shaking. Then light, a faint shimmer entered her vision. Blurry shapes formed, soft colors flickered, and shadows became outlines. She gasped, her body shaking. I see. Something. Shapes, light, movement." Her tears fell freely as her hands reached out, touching Daniel's face. For the first time, she could see the outline of a human, the faint glow of his eyes, the shadow of his jaw. You are real," she whispered. "I can see you." Daniel smiled, his chest tight. "Yes, and soon you will see more." She turned her head, her cloudy eyes blinking hard. The alley around her came alive. Broken walls, glowing lights, the faint shimmer of stars above the city. Her voice broke into sobs. "The sky. I can see the sky," she cried. Her joy echoed through the alley, but in the distance, hidden eyes watched. A tall alien overseer stood in the shadows, frowning. He did not like what he saw. A blind girl who suddenly could see? This was dangerous. Order depended on weakness, on control. If others learned of this, they would rise. The overseer whispered to his guard, "Watch them. The human is trouble." But the girl did not know of the danger. She was lost in wonder, laughing and crying at the same time. She touched her face, her hair, her bag of scraps. Every object was new, strange, and beautiful. Daniel let her explore, his heart warming with every cry of joy. Yet in his mind, he felt the weight of what was coming. He had given her sight, but also made her a target. As the night deepened, the girl whispered, "What is your name?" "Daniel," he replied. "Daniel," she repeated slowly. "I will never forget this name. You gave me the world." And for the first time in her life, the blind girl looked at the stars. She did not know that others would soon try to take this gift away. The night air of Rator City was alive with neon lights and voices. But for the first time, the blind alien girl could see it. Her new glasses glowed faintly on her face, and her cloudy eyes blinked in wonder. She touched everything near her, the rough stones of the wall, the glowing signs, even her own thin hands, as if the world had been reborn. Daniel watched her silently. He had seen hardened soldiers cry, but this was different. The girl's tears were not of pain but of discovery. She laughed softly like a child who had just found a secret treasure. "I can see the lights," she whispered. "I can see the sky. It's not just stories, it's real." She turned her head, staring upward. The stars shone faintly above the city's haze. So many, so far away. I never thought they could be so beautiful. Her voice cracked as she touched her own face, tracing her nose, lips, and chin. "This is me. This is what I look like." Daniel's throat tightened. "Yes, you are real. You are not just shadows." For a long time she sat quietly, her eyes moving from one thing to another. A broken bottle sparkled under a neon light, and she smiled at it as if it were a gem. A passing child's toy rolled near her feet, and she gasped as if the toy itself were magic. "Everything is alive," she whispered. "Even trash shines now." Daniel almost laughed, but his heart was heavy. He knew what this meant. Soon others would notice. The overseers of this city did not like change, and a blind girl who suddenly could see, that was more dangerous than any weapon. But for now he let her dream. Hours passed before she finally turned to him, her new sight focusing on his face. Though blurry, she could see his eyes clearly, the strange human eyes that no alien shared. She stared at him with awe. "You gave me this," she whispered. "Why? Why would you help me when no one else ever did?" Daniel hesitated. He had no easy answer. "Because I could not walk away," he said simply. "Because you deserve more than darkness. Because sometimes one person must do what is right." She lowered her head, her lips trembling. "All my life I was told I was worthless, that blind ones only take space, only eat food they don't deserve. I believed it. I thought I was nothing." She looked up again, her eyes shining with tears. "But now, I think maybe I am something." Daniel placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You are more than something. You are proof that even the smallest light can change everything." But in the shadows of the alley, someone else had been listening. The tall overseer from before leaned against the wall, his dark eyes narrowing. He whispered into a communicator. "The girl has gained sight. The human is responsible. Report this to the council. They will not allow such disruption." The overseer left silently, but danger was now on its way. The girl, still lost in her joy, did not notice. She tried to walk down the alley, her steps unsteady but full of wonder. For the first time, she did not need her broken stick. She touched the walls, the lights, even the passing faces. Some aliens stared at her in shock. They had known her as the blind trash collector. Now she walked with new eyes, smiling at colors she had never known. "Blue," Daniel explained when she pointed to a glowing sign. "Blue," she repeated, testing the word as if it were sacred. Then she touched a small fruit at a stall. "What color is this?" "Red," Daniel said. "Red." Her lips curved into a smile. "Blue and red. I will remember them." Every step, every color, every shape was a miracle for her. Yet behind her joy, Daniel's soldier instincts kept him alert. He noticed whispers spreading among the crowd. He noticed a pair of guards watching too closely. He leaned down and whispered in her ear, "We must be careful now. Not everyone will be happy, you can see." Her smile faded a little. "But why? Isn't sight a blessing?" Daniel's face hardened. "To some, yes. But to others, it is a threat. You were blind, weak, easy to ignore. Now you are something more. And those who rule this city, they do not want the weak to rise." Her hands trembled. "Will they take it away?" Daniel met her gaze firmly. "Not if I can stop them." The girl bit her lip, fear mixing with hope. For the first time, she felt the weight of what her new sight meant. She was no longer invisible. She was no longer safe in shadows. Still, when she looked up at the stars again, her fear softened. "Even if they try, I will never forget this night," she whispered. "The night I saw the stars for the first time." Daniel's jaw tightened. He would not let her lose this gift, not now, not ever. But he knew the overseers were already moving. And soon, the world that had just opened for her would also bring her into danger greater than she had ever known. The morning after her first night of sight, the blind girl, no longer blind, woke with a smile on her face. She opened her eyes and saw her little corner clearly. Broken walls, rusty cans, and pieces of cloth she had once only felt with her hands. For her, even trash was beautiful now. But in the higher towers of Rator City, the news was already spreading. The overseers, tall and cruel, gathered in a dark chamber. Their faces were cold, their voices sharp. A miracle has happened, one said with anger. The useless blind trash collector can now see, and it was a human who gave her this power. This is dangerous, another hissed. If one of the lowest can rise, others will think they can too. It will break control. It will spark rebellion. The leader of the overseers slammed his clawed hand on the table. Then stop it. Take the glasses. Break them. Make sure no one dares to believe in change. Orders were given. Soldiers in dark armor began their hunt. Down in the alley, Daniel had already sensed danger. He had been a soldier too long to ignore the signs. Whispers in the crowd, strange faces watching, heavy footsteps at night. He knew the overseers would not stay silent. That day he sat with the girl and showed her more colors. They ate small fruits together, and she repeated each color's name as if learning a new language. But her joy was shadowed by Daniel's tense eyes. He kept scanning the crowd, his hand never far from the knife hidden under his coat. Finally, he spoke quietly. Listen to me. They will come. The overseers will not allow you to keep what you have. The girl froze, her new sight wide with fear. But why? I only wanted to live. Because your sight means hope, Daniel said firmly. And hope is the most dangerous weapon of all. Before she could answer, the crowd shifted. 2 guards stepped into the alley, tall and armored, their eyes fixed on her. The people around fell silent, watching. There she is, one guard growled. The blind one who dares to see. The girl shrank back, clutching her glasses. Daniel moved in front of her. Leave her alone, he said, his voice calm but deadly. The guard sneered. Human, step aside. This is not your concern. It became my concern the moment you left her to starve, Daniel snapped. The guards reached for their weapons. The crowd whispered, fearful but curious. Everyone knew overseers never lost. No one dared to resist them until now. The girl's hands shook. She wanted to hide, but for the first time in her life, she could see what was happening. She saw Daniel standing strong in front of her, and her heart filled with both fear and something new. Courage. The first guard lunged. In a flash, Daniel struck, knocking the weapon aside and pushing the guard to the ground. The second guard swung, but Daniel moved with soldier speed, his knife flashing. Sparks flew as metal clashed. The girl cried out, but Daniel's voice was steady. Run when I tell you. The fight was quick but brutal. Daniel managed to disable one guard, leaving him groaning on the ground. The other stumbled back. His helmet cracked. But before Daniel could finish, the guards retreated, shouting, This is not over, human. The council will deal with you. The alley fell silent again. The people who had mocked the blind girl now stared with wide eyes. Some looked afraid, but others looked inspired. The girl clutched Daniel's arm. They will kill us, she whispered. Daniel looked into her trembling eyes. Not if we move first. Not if we fight back. Her lips parted in shock. Fight back? I am just a girl. I only learned what blue and red looked like yesterday. Daniel knelt in front of her, his hand on her shoulder. And yet you already see more than most. You see what they fear. Change. They want you silent, crawling in shadows. But you can stand. You can lead others, she shook her head. I cannot lead. I was blind. You are not blind anymore, Daniel said firmly. And that makes you dangerous to them. The words struck her deeply. She remembered the overseer's cruel laughter, the stones children had thrown at her, the countless nights of hunger. For the first time she saw them not just as tormentors but as enemies. Her fear turned slowly into anger. She whispered almost to herself, I will not go back to the dark. Daniel nodded. Then we run tonight. There is a safe place outside the city. But first we gather what we can. Others will follow if they see you. If they see what's possible. The girl looked up at the sky, the stars faint behind the neon haze. Her hands still shook, but her voice grew stronger. If they fear me, then let them fear. I will not give up my sight, Daniel smiled faintly. Good, because tomorrow we start something bigger than just survival. But even as he spoke, more soldiers were already marching in the streets, their orders clear. The overseers had marked them both, and the hunt had only begun. Night fell over Raytor City like a blanket of fire and smoke. Neon lights flickered on every corner, but in the narrow alleys shadows ruled. The blind girl, who was blind no more, stood close to Daniel, her heart racing. She had seen the guards come for her that day. She had seen Daniel fight them off with soldier speed, and now she knew what he had warned her about. The overseers would not stop. Daniel moved quickly, checking every corner, every rooftop. His soldier's instincts told him the city was closing in. "They will not wait until morning," he said in a low voice. "They will come tonight." The girl held her glasses tightly. They were the most precious things she had ever owned, but now they felt heavy, dangerous. She whispered, Should I throw them away? If I stay blind again, maybe they will leave me." Daniel stopped, his eyes sharp. "Never say that.
They fear you because you see.
If you give it up, they win. And if they win, they will crush anyone who dares to hope. Do you understand?" Her voice shook, but she nodded. "I understand." The city seemed alive with whispers. Strange faces turned as they passed. Some looked away in fear, but others stared with curiosity, even admiration. The girl felt it. Eyes following her, whispers calling her name. She was no longer invisible. Suddenly, a shout rang out behind them. There, the human and the girl. Daniel grabbed her hand. "Run!" They bolted down the alley, footsteps echoing behind them. Soldiers in black armor pushed through the crowd, their heavy boots striking the ground like hammers. The girl stumbled, her new sight blurry in the chaos, but Daniel's grip kept her steady. "Left," she cried suddenly. For the first time, she was the one guiding him. She had seen a narrow path between two stalls, almost hidden in shadow. Daniel didn't question it. He pulled her through. They slipped into a maze of back streets, the smell of smoke and rust filling their lungs. Distant voices shouted orders, and the sound of boots grew closer. The girl gasped, "They are everywhere!" Daniel's jaw tightened. "That's what they want you to believe. But this city has more paths than they can guard." He led her up a staircase made of broken stone, then across a rooftop where neon signs glowed like fireflies. Below, soldiers searched the alleys, but above, the two fugitives moved like shadows. The girl looked down, her stomach twisting with fear and wonder. She could see the city like never before, the glowing towers, the endless lights, the stars above. Even in danger, her heart whispered, "So beautiful." But there was no time to stop. As they crossed the rooftop, a drone whirred into the sky, its red eye flashing. The girl pointed in panic. "Daniel, it sees us!" Daniel threw a piece of metal, striking the drone's sensor. Sparks flew and the machine crashed into a wall. "Keep moving!" he barked. They climbed down another stairway, ducked into a tunnel, and slipped through an abandoned factory. Everywhere they went, the city seemed to tighten its grip. The girl's legs ached, her chest burned, but she refused to stop. For the first time in her life, she wasn't crawling. She was running. Finally, they stopped in a hidden courtyard, catching their breath. Daniel leaned against a wall, scanning the shadows. The girl bent over, gasping, her hands on her knees. They won't stop," she whispered. "They will hunt us forever." Daniel looked at her, his eyes steady. "Then we stay ahead of them. And when the time comes, we fight." Her eyes widened. "Fight? I can't fight. I am no soldier." "No," Daniel agreed. "You are not a soldier. You are something greater. You are a symbol. People already whisper your name. If you stand, others will follow." The girl trembled. "But I was blind. I am no leader." Daniel's voice softened, but his words were sharp. "That is why you can lead. You were blind, forgotten, broken, and now you see. You are proof that no one is beyond hope. That is what terrifies them." Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they were not only of fear. They were of understanding. Before she could answer, heavy footsteps echoed again. The overseer's soldiers had tracked them to the courtyard. Dark shapes appeared at every exit. The girl's heart pounded. "We are trapped." Daniel's knife gleamed in the neon light. "Then we break the trap." He moved fast, throwing a piece of scrap metal to distract the first guard. The girl ducked, her new sight catching movement before it struck. "Daniel, behind you," she shouted. He spun just in time, slamming his blade against a soldier's weapon. Sparks flew and the alley lit with chaos. The girl pressed against the wall, terrified but refusing to close her eyes. For the first time, she saw the fight with her own eyes. Daniel moving like a storm, guards striking like hammers. Every second was danger, every second was life or death. The crowd outside the courtyard gathered, watching. Whispers turned to shouts. "It's her! The blind girl! She can see!" Hope spread like fire. Daniel fought with everything he had, but the numbers grew. He shouted over the noise, "We can't stay. When I tell you, run." The girl's voice cracked. "Where?" "Out of this city. To freedom." He pushed back the soldiers with one final strike, grabbed her hand and pulled her into the crowd. The people, now alive with whispers of rebellion, closed ranks behind them, blocking the soldiers' path. As Daniel and the girl vanished into the night, the overseer's soldiers shouted in fury. But the people had seen something they could never unsee. The blind girl was no longer blind, and her escape was only the beginning. The next day, Rator City was buzzing with whispers. In the alleys, in the markets, even in the factories, one story spread like fire. The blind girl could see. Some said it was a lie. Some said it was a trick. But others swore they had seen it with their own eyes. Her cloudy gaze lit by strange glasses, her voice naming colors for the first time. Daniel and the girl hid in an abandoned warehouse at the edge of the city. Broken windows let in weak light and rats scurried in the corners. It was not safe, but for now it was shelter. The girl sat on a crate staring out the cracked glass at the city she could finally see. "Even broken things shine," she whispered. "I used to touch walls, but I never knew how many colors they carried. I never knew how big the world was." Daniel crouched nearby, cleaning his knife. His soldier's instincts kept him sharp, but his eyes softened as he watched her. She was like a child seeing life for the first time, yet she had already suffered more than most grown warriors. He said quietly, "The city knows now. The overseers will move faster. They can't allow people to believe in you." The girl turned toward him, her eyes steady despite fear. "They already believe." I heard them whisper. "Even when we ran, they called my name." Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes, and that is what gives us strength and danger. You are more than one girl now. You are a symbol." She hesitated, clutching her glasses. "I never asked to be a symbol. I only wanted to see the stars." Daniel's voice grew firm. "And because you wanted that, others will believe they can want more too. Do you understand? This is bigger than us." Before she could answer, soft footsteps echoed. Daniel stood instantly, knife ready. From the shadows, 3 figures appeared. Aliens in ragged clothes, thin and weak, their eyes filled with fear and hope. One of them stepped forward, bowing his head. "It is true," he whispered. "You were blind, and now you see," the girl gasped. "How do you know?" "We saw you in the courtyard," the alien said. "We saw you run. The guards fear you now, and if you can see, maybe others like us can too." The girl's voice trembled. I don't know if it can work for others. Daniel made these glasses just for me." Daniel stepped forward, his voice calm but strong. "I have more. Not many, but a few. If I can find the right parts, I can build more. It won't be easy, but if we share them, the overseers will no longer control who sees and who doesn't." The 3 strangers dropped to their knees. "Then let us help. The people are ready. They only need a spark." The girl looked at Daniel, fear and wonder in her eyes. "A spark?" she whispered. "Yes," Daniel said. "And you are that spark." That night more came. Old workers with broken hands. Mothers who had lost children. The poor, the hungry, the forgotten. They gathered in the dark warehouse, whispering her name. The girl who saw the stars. The girl sat trembling as dozens of eyes looked at her. She was not used to this. She was used to stones, to laughter, to being invisible. Now they wanted her to speak. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. "Tell them what you told me. Tell them about the stars." Her lips trembled, but she stood slowly. Her voice was soft at first, but the silence around her carried it. "All my life I lived in darkness. I thought I was nothing. I thought I was trash. But now I see, and I am not nothing. I am alive, and if I can see, then maybe others can too. Maybe none of us are worthless." Murmurs rose in the crowd. Some wept. Others clenched their fists. The girl lifted her face toward the cracked window where stars peeked through. "They told me I would never see the stars. They told me dreams were enough. But dreams are not enough. We deserve to live. We deserve to hope." The warehouse filled with voices shouting agreement. The spark had caught. But outside, in the dark streets, overseer drones hovered. Red eyes scanned the city, recording every whisper. In the towers, the overseer leader watched the recordings and snarled. "She speaks like a leader," he hissed. "She spreads hope like poison. If we let her live, the city will burn. Kill the human. Break the girl. Crush the symbol." Back in the warehouse, Daniel felt the cold air shift. His soldier's instincts burned like fire. He whispered to her, "They know where we are. Tonight they will come." The girl's heart pounded. She looked at the faces around her, faces filled with hope, faces waiting for her. For the first time, she did not feel small. She felt necessary. She clenched her fists. "Then let them come. We will not hide forever." Daniel smiled faintly, pride in his eyes. Good, because tomorrow the fight begins, and outside the city trembled. The overseers had power, but the girl had given the people something more dangerous than power. She had given them hope. The city of Rator woke under heavy silence. In the higher towers, overseer soldiers prepared for war. In the lower alleys, whispers turned to shouts. The blind girl, once trash, now a symbol, was alive, and the people were ready to stand with her. In the abandoned warehouse, Daniel stood by the broken window, scanning the streets. His knife rested in his hand, but his mind was sharp as iron. He had seen battles before. He knew what was coming. They will come at dawn, he said quietly. They will come with all their strength. The girl stood beside him, clutching her glasses. She no longer looked like the fragile child of the alleys. Her eyes, though still cloudy, burned with fire. She had spoken to the people all night, and they believed. Now she believed too. She whispered, "All my life I thought I was alone. Now I see. I was never alone. They were always here. They only needed someone to speak first." Daniel turned to her, his voice calm but strong. "When the overseers arrive, remember this. They can kill people, but they cannot kill what you have given them. Hope lives even when bodies fall." The first sound of boots echoed through the streets, heavy, countless, like thunder. The overseers had come. The warehouse doors burst open and soldiers poured in, armored and armed. Behind them, the overseer leader entered, tall and cruel, his eyes sharp as blades. His voice filled the air. "End this lie. Take the glasses. Break the girl." The people inside trembled. Some wanted to run. But the girl stepped forward. Her heart hammered, but her voice was clear. "I was blind," she said, her voice carrying through the hall. "You told me I was worthless. You told me I should crawl in shadows. But now I see, and so do they." She pointed at the people gathered. Dozens stood, their eyes burning. More voices shouted, "We see! We will not crawl anymore." The overseer leader snarled, "Silence them." The soldiers advanced. Daniel moved like a storm, his knife flashing, his fists striking with soldiers' skill. But he was only one man against many. Then something unexpected happened. The people fought too. Workers picked up pipes, mothers threw stones, children screamed warnings. The warehouse exploded with chaos. The girl pressed against the wall, her glasses glowing faintly. For the first time, she did not hide. She called out, "Left side! They're weak there." Daniel heard her and moved, striking where she guided. Her new sight turned into strength, not just for herself, but for him. The overseer leader roared in anger. He lunged at her, claws raised to tear the glasses from her face. But the girl stood her ground. She did not see only him. She saw beyond him. She saw the stars shining faintly through the broken roof. She lifted her chin and whispered, "You cannot take the stars from me." The overseer struck, but Daniel was faster. He slammed into the leader, his knife flashing. The two crashed to the ground, weapons clashing, sparks flying. The people shouted, their courage rising like fire. At last, Daniel's blade found its mark. The overseer leader fell, his roar silenced. The soldiers, seeing their master broken, hesitated. And in that moment, the people surged forward, driving them back. The warehouse shook with victory cries. The overseers had not been destroyed, but they had been beaten. For the first time, the people of Rator saw that the chains of fear could be broken. The girl stood in the center, her glasses cracked but still glowing. She looked at Daniel, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I thought I was nothing, but now I see I was always something." Daniel wiped the blood from his hands, his tired eyes softening as he looked at her. "You were always something," he said. "You just needed the chance to see it." The people gathered around her, voices rising. They called her star-sighted, the girl who had seen what no one thought possible. She lifted her face to the sky where the stars burned brighter than ever. "I will never forget," she whispered. "The night I saw the stars, the night we all began to see." Daniel stood beside her, a faint smile on his lips. He had given her glasses, but she had given an entire city vision. And in the distance, beyond the towers, beyond the neon lights, the stars shone like promises waiting to be fulfilled. The blind girl was blind no more. She was the girl who saw the stars.